Hello, everybody. Welcome to this cool fall day. I hope the fans are helping. My name is Faun Finley, and I'm with Backstage Beat, as you know. Welcome to the first time we've done this. We're interviewing 12 artists over the weekend, and one, of course, is Leonardo Sandoval. We're very excited. Backstage Beat is brought to you by the News and Record, and we're going to go ahead and begin. Leonardo Sandoval, he is a world-renowned tapper and percussion artist and choreographer with his own show that he produced just a couple years ago and is still performing. So we're going to have some time with Leonardo. I'm going to ask him a few questions, and he put down a little tap floor, so we may be in for some surprises. So welcome, Leonardo.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much. So using a dance metaphor, we're going to start with some basic questions and then layer, if that's okay with you.
Okay, perfect.
All right, so you are from Brazil.
Yes, correct.
And you started dancing at the age of 6.
Yes.
And by 11, you were on Brazilian television.
Yes, yes.
What was it like for a kid in Brazil to have that kind of notoriety and have that dance experience be so public?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really interesting because the TV show that I went to, it was a kids TV show, and the presenter of the show, it was a person, Xuxa Meneghel, a person that I was like admiring my entire childhood. And when they told me that I would be able to perform in her show, I was like, oh my gosh, really dreams come true. And I saw that through my work as a kid at that moment, I realized that through tap dance I could achieve things on my life, you know, and that was inspiring, like really, really lighting a light inside of me saying, okay, you are in the right path, like you should keep dancing. Yeah, it was really, really exciting.
So at 11, you knew you were on the right path.
Yeah, kind of. I used to say that I didn't choose tap dance chose me.
So now, moving into teens, you were invited to the Debbie Allen's intensive, a summer intensive. How was that experience, and how did that inform the American aspect of your tap?
It was a great experience because it was not only the first time I came to America, but also the first time I left my country. So there was the whole shock of culture and everything. I didn't speak English at all, so I arrived there like with zero English, and after a month I was like able to talk and communicate with everyone. And the experience itself, like taking classes with her and all the teachers that she had, it just opened a whole entire new world for me, because I was just, you know, in my small city in Piracicaba, and it's really easy to get comfortable in a comfortable zone because you are a good dancer, and then in this small city, in this small circle, I couldn't reach out new information. And like coming to LA, to Debbie Allen, I was like, oh my gosh, I have so much to learn, and I have so much to search. And I mean, yeah, it was a great experience.
So that leads me to another question, sort of comparing and contrasting Brazilian rhythms with what you do with American-style tap. Because when you dance to American jazz, I think you were born and raised here. Your body movements are so natural to someone who is culturally rooted here. And then when you dance like samba, it's like, okay, yeah, he's Brazilian. So how do you adapt your body to those different styles?
I think the music actually it brings this vibe inside of me. I studied American tap dance like my entire life, and the techniques are from America. So it's in the body. It's the way that we dance and that we approach. When we put some Brazilian songs, or when I try to do Brazilian rhythms with my feet, it shifts. I don't know. I think it's a bottom inside of me that goes from one side to the other.
Now, there's a lot of joy in tap that I've observed watching you, and I'm sure the audience has too when he dances, and in tap in general. But in watching you teach the master students just this week, getting through the pedals and getting the timing and everything and the clean sounds was a tremendous effort. So massive discipline that you make look so easy. How do you find the joy in the discipline to get to this level?
I even in class when we are performing on when we are rehearsing in class or like trying stuff in class, it feels like a performance, because your body needs to do everything that we do on the stage. We need to do it in class to get the right approach, the right sound, and the right movement that we want. And I think this brings the joy because we are really doing the performance inside of a studio. So it's always there. Always there. Yeah. As soon as we put the tap shoes on, we are like smiling all the time.
Do you enjoy teaching a whole new generation of tap dancers and percussion artists? And what's the experience of, since we're at a folk festival and part of the folk tradition is passing it on, what does that mean to you?
Honestly, I don't really feel myself as a teacher right now. I really think that I need to learn more and be exposed to more and more information to bring something for the students. It's a huge responsibility to pass through, to pass to the others, to pass to the youngers. But I really enjoy it. I really enjoy it. When you see a kid like getting the step that you're trying to teach them and they get like this, it's really joyful. It's I can't find a word in English for that right now, but pays off, pays off when you see like that. Yeah, he understands what I'm trying to say, or like he is talking in the same language as me right now. Yes.
Right. So it gets rid of the language barriers, and you have that connection.
Yes.
So I would be remiss if I didn't ask you, who are your greatest tap influences and non-tap influences in dance?
In tap dance, always from the old times, the Nicholas brothers are my favorite ones. They were revolutionary. They were like musical. They were everything, acrobatics and like very rhythmic. When I first saw a video of them, I was like, I would never be able to do anything close to that. Nowadays, right now, of course, Gregory Hines and Savion Glover. But I've been working with a tap dancer called Michelle Dorrance, and she's from North Carolina. And she is a choreographer and just got a MacArthur Fellowship as a genius. And it's been wonderful to work with her because she's merging tap dance and contemporary dance in the same place. And it's just a new way to see the art form, She's changing the game, so it's really nice to be part of this time right now as a tap dancer. Yeah, the way that she's doing. Yes.
In the videos that I've seen and that are out there on your website and YouTube, and from your show, the music is right on stage with you. It's like it's brought up out of the pit. And like Mark Morris has done that, and he's a modern dancer.
Yes.
And other dancers. Was that a conscious decision in terms of connecting with the music and involving the musicians in the
For sure. We tap dancers, we call ourselves as not just dancers, but musicians. We are musicians. We need to have knowledge about music, and because we are adding sounds to the music, or even when we don't have anyone playing for us, we are just dancing by ourselves, we are making music. And for that show specifically, me and Gregory Richardson, who is the composer for the show, we did all the songs were original. So first, because we didn't have any recording of them, and second, because it's so nice to create like the connection between the dance and the music, like in live. Like, of course, the audience can see the magic happen, but for us on the stage, it's really special to see like the dancing meeting the music at the same time. It's a mystic thing, it's a magic thing that is really, really nice. And for me as a tap dancer, I don't feel like dancing anymore without a live band. Yeah, I don't feel. Yes, yes.
That's the best, isn't it? So we've talked about joy and discipline and musicality. Let's talk about craft a little. When you were teaching, your emphasis to the students was timing, number one.
Yeah.
Be on time. Accents. And there was one other thing.
We were doing a lot of improvisation. Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
improvisation.
Yes, yes.
And that's hard. So, that's the thing. This one really stood out for me because I think it's so challenging to really be in the pocket.
Yes.
So how you can tell the difference between a dancer who's in the pocket and not in the pocket.
Yeah, I was teaching a lot of improvisation and like being in time and being in music, like in this last master class that I did, and in a focus of improvisation, like for them to be able to be with the band or like be by themselves, dancing with steps that they have in the pocket. I will do a little demonstration right now with steps that I have on my pocket. I will improvise. But it's the stuff that I already have. So check it out. It's pretty small.
Oh, that was a treat. That was fantastic.
Yeah, so all those steps that I did, of course, they were improvised, but it's the steps that I know them very well, so I can throw them out anytime I want it. Hope I need to breathe.
Please do. You can catch it while I ask this next question because it's regarding improvisation. I heard you say in class that you never do exactly the sounds in your head to your feet. So they don't always match. And I'm wondering, for you, they've got to match pretty well. So what percentage and what feels satisfying to you?
Let's say 60% of what I think I can translate through my feet. It's really hard because we always in the head wants to do something new or like get a new step or like do something impressive, and never happen. So it's easier to use like the steps on the pocket, like the ones that we are really comfortable with. But when I try to do something completely different, it's something in my head. It's completely different from what comes on my feet. But it's also interesting because then I find a new step or a new thing that I didn't thought of doing. And a lot of new steps comes from those moments.
Right. You've got to take a risk to find new material,
yeah,
right?
That's
and
right.
Sometimes it happens live.
Yes.
So a lot of people here are probably very familiar with Broadway type of tap dancing. Yeah. What to you is the feel difference with Broadway versus percussive versus something that has the more Brazilian flavor?
Yeah, that's an interesting question actually, because even inside of the Broadway tap dance, we have like the tap dance that the roofers do on Broadway, like Savion Glover, Gregory Hines, And we have the Broadway tap dance that we will call. It's like basically time steps, jazz hands, etc. It's not, for me as a performer and as a person, I prefer more the roofer because it's more connected with what I do. And the jazz one is more like what we call entertaining, and it's just a touch in the show that is being presented. But recently we don't have that much as roofers right now on Broadway, which is sad. But recently we had 2 shows that brought this back. One was After Midnight, and the other one was Shuffle Along. Shuffle Along actually choreographed by Savion Glover. It was a revival from a old-time show. It's nice to see the roofers back on Broadway because Broadway is a huge window for us dancers, and especially for tap dance. So it's nice to see that we are being represented in that way in that venue.
Well, speaking of performances and being on stage, would you like to share some about your music from the soul?
Yes. The show that I created with Greg, we created from scratch for a performance in Baltimore. We both, him more than me, but I was like putting my finger on that. We were like composing the whole show musically and choreographically. We have a lot of Brazilian music and Brazilian dance, but merging with contemporary dance, and like sometimes we use even leather sole shoes, like tap dance shoes without the taps. We have a cappella performances. It's a great, very interesting show. Very interesting and very hype. The energy of the show is like all the time. The music's like, hey! Yeah.
Would you like to see it go to Broadway or another project?
I think this is a show more for dance venues and like theater venues. I don't see it on Broadway, but I'm not opposed to choreograph something for Broadway.
There you go.
Yes.
So before I open it up to the audience, I just want to make sure you know where to see Leonardo, because that was wonderful, but it wasn't enough, right? All right, so today, 3 o'clock, LeBauer Park. And again today, 8 p.m., Lawn Stage. Then tomorrow, we have 1:30 at Center City Park. And again, we have 2 more performances tomorrow, 3:15 p.m., LeBauer Park, and 4 p.m. LeBauer Park, but that one's a little different, right? Do you want to tell us about the African diaspora roots and rhythms?
Yeah, for all the other ones, I will be performing with Jennifer Vincent, who is a bass player, and we will do an entire set of improvisation. She on bass and kick drum, and I on the dance. So we will be doing improvisation this whole time. The last one, it will be a workshop with other artists from the festival. So they will put me and a couple, I don't know, maybe 5 other artists, and we will be on the stage, and we will figure out whatever will happen at the moment. It's really interesting. Yes.
That sounds exciting.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure we have some questions in the audience. We're just so delighted to have you here. So I am going to put this mic down and switch mics. Okay, who has a question for Leonardo? All right, here we go. And go ahead and state your name, if you would.
Hello, Leonardo.
Hi.
My name is Tanya.
Hello.
And I am interested in all things African. So, you mentioned percussion, and I'm a percussionist too. So, I was wondering, just explain to the audience, if you will, how tap dance is percussion.
We are basically drummers, you know, and we technically would have to start drumming before going to a dance class or a tap dance class to have the rhythm inside. But our taps, like the bottom tap and the front tap, they produce different sounds. So that's how we can get the tones. Like from the heel, I have a more bass sound, and from the toes, I have more high pitches. And I mean, that's how we design our drumming and our our sound. And also another connection with drumming, it's our ankles. Sometimes you know how drummers they need to have this part of the arm, the fist. Yes, has to be like very soft and etc. It's the same thing with our ankle over there. For some steps we need to be very, 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 very relaxing. Yes. So I think those are basically connections with the percussive. Yes.
Okay, do you pay attention to certain styles? Like, do you like sometimes like do jazz style, like play jazz with your feet, or sometimes play Afro-Cuban with your feet, or?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
It's the best to perform with a band, especially with the jazz band, because we got to improvise and like listen and learn from them, and as well as African rhythms, Brazilian rhythms, and many, many, many others. Thank you.
Thank you. Who else has a question for Leonardo? Did I hear an I do? I thought I heard. Oh, here we go. Go ahead and say your name.
My name is Bobetta, and I was curious about your show. You say it's not particularly suited for Broadway, but performed in other venues. When and where is it often performed? Has it been performed in North Carolina? That sort of thing.
We didn't get to North Carolina yet, but we will be here soon, hopefully. I performed in a venue in Baltimore called the Creative Alliance. It's where the show was created for. We also did an excerpt from that show in New York in a tap festival called Rhythm Emotion. It's a tap, not festival, like a tap show with many choreographers. So I presented 15 minutes of that show there. And I'm actually going next week with that show to the Jacob's Pillow, which is a dance festival in Massachusetts. The connection, so you guys understand a little bit, you guys know Tanglewood, the music festival. Jacob's Pillow is kind of the same thing, but for dance. And I will be back there next week to perform also some excerpts from the show there. So it's more it's a show more for a dance venue or theater venue. Yeah, not musical theater.
We need to go to Baltimore.
Yeah.
I think we have time for one more from the audience. Oh, of course. Go ahead and say your name, sweetie.
Harper.
What's your question, Harper? You can do it.
You're too cute, Harper.
Do you know her question? Want to try? Give it a try. Maybe it'll come back to her. All right, so I'm gonna come back on stage. And besides your Broadway show that you're going to be choreographing in the future, what is your vision for dance in your life and in sharing with audiences? What do you aspire to at this point?
I think just getting more and more audience for a tap dance specific type of show. It's interesting to perform in dance festivals, like just general dance, not just tap dance festivals, because most of the dance audience, they think tap dance as a Broadway type of dance, like just with the jazz hands and the time steps and the kicking. And when they got exposed to another type of like a rhythm tap or like putting the contemporary dance around the tap dance, they are like, oh my gosh, I never knew or realized that you guys could be in this place too, and not like just on Broadway. And I think my vision is that it's like make people see that tap dance can be more than just jazz hands.
And the audience can help, right? They can come to your shows, they can pass the word on, they can share your videos. And the little girl, did you have a question?
Oh, nice.
Maybe you can. Maybe you'll be in a future show of Leonardo Sandoval. Thank you so much, Leonardo. It's such a pleasure.
Thank you.